So are you.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willis, your host. We are going to have a great show for you today, but as usual, in the beginning, there was Howard and Jack. Good morning, my dear brothers in the studio. How you guys doing this morning?
Well, I'm still standing here saluting my radio. What a way to start the day, huh? The
There you
national
go.
anthem.
The national anthem of the United States of America.
Yes, and Jack has some wisdom here for us today. Jack, what's the wisdom for today?
Well, I think the wisdom is as we salute the flag, the corporations have taken over the flag.
Those bums!
Okay. This is for Joe that called last Tuesday. If you blame the government for the troubling issues today, consider this. Big business has corrupted government, right or left.
God, I hate it when that happens.
But
All
you are
right.
so right. You are so right.
Let's not hijack his show, okay?
Well, this is wait, brother Howard. You know I don't like to complain about you, but this is not my show. This is our show. This is the people's show. 713-526-5738 is the number. Hey, and you know what? Howard, yesterday I put a call out because there were only guys calling, right? And I said, hey, we
Right,
need
right.
women calling into the show. And Jesse called, and it was like, thank you for calling in. A lady called in. So I'm going to put the call out very, very early. Please, women, I like balance. Let's have guys and ladies and men call the program. All points of view are necessary. And you know us, macho kind of, we need to have that other point of view here. So please, folks, 713-526-5738. We want everybody to call in, ladies and men alike. 713-526-5738. Anyhow, today's program is titled, and I need to scroll up. And by the way, folks, today's title is Democratic Establishment Gives DINO Cuellar Their Support. Let me interpret that. DINO means Democrat in name only, just like Rhino means Republican in name only. Cuellar is the congressman from South Texas who doesn't support women's values, etc., etc., etc. Well, you know what I mean. He doesn't support a woman's right to choose, and a few very other conservative things that are not in line with the people who votes for him. Again, you know, when you have a lot of money put into a system, it's easy without pushback to override it. We had a young woman who challenged him last time and came very close to knock him off, a true progressive. And that has to be done again. And the second thing is, if we get to it, if we don't get a whole lot of calls, there are three stories that I have: a politician, a voting activist, and an artist. And these are interviews that I did back in Chicago while we were, Howard, doing all these. As you remember, we did a lot of two of our shows live from Chicago. Well, I also did 44 interviews, so I have a lot of good interviews from. Actually, it's now like 48 interviews that with great activists, politicians, and organizations, etc. You know, we brought you some already with Keith Ellison, the Attorney General of Minnesota. I also have the Attorney General of Connecticut that I'm going to bring you. We brought you Maurice Mitchell, who is the Working Families Party Executive Director. We brought you the head of the AFT, Randy Weingart, and we have so many more great American politicians, voting activists, and artists that we are going to bring you over the next several weeks. Some of these guys have you played our interview yet? I'm like, subject specific, guys. When it really fits within the subject matter, we're going to definitely get those up because you guys are exceptional. Anyway, the Democratic leadership expressed unanimous support for DINO Representative Henry Cuellar. One hopes progressives will primary him. Monica Garcia, Sean Frame, and Marcus Akinlana visit with us. Who are they? A politician, a voting activist, and an artist. Anyhow, But the place that I want to start with is with that article with Cuellar. All right, it says, and I picked it up on the program, not on the program, on the newsletter yesterday, called Common Dreams. And I'm going to read that in a minute, but before I want to remind all folks that you can get to us very easily. Either go to 90.1 FM Houston, turn your dials to 90.1 FM and tune into KPFT. Alternatively, you can download the TuneIn app for your cell phone and tune in via the TuneIn app on Android or Apple. Go ahead and search for KPFT after you've downloaded it from the store. And guess what? You hear us live. You can also go to our website, kpft.org, and you can listen to it by just clicking the listen button. But if you're already on our website, we also have a thing called a donate button. And KPFT is an independent community radio station that is only funded by you. So all these great things that you hear on KPFT is funded by you, but it also means that you own it, and it also means that we cater to you, the people. So don't forget, we want to start having less fund drives, and so we ask people, hey, donate just keep donating no matter whether we're in fund drive or not, and based on how much we're able to collect, we can decide to shorten the fund drives, because we know, we just want to talk real stuff, folks. Anyhow, you can watch us live as well. Today I'm in my bright red biking jersey. I do my biking right after this. Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. Welcome to Politics Done Right. Anyhow, I am in my red jersey, and it's because of the danger we are in right now. You have two meanings for everything. But you can go watch us live at facebook.com/KPFT Houston, facebook.com/KPFT Houston, or you can watch us on YouTube live by just going to politicsdoneright.tv. Una vez más, politicsdoneright.tv. So we make sure that wherever you are, you have the ability to reach us, to talk to us, etc. Do you want to talk to me? You can go ahead and or tell me you hate something, you love something, you want me to cover something. Just send an email to kpft@politicsdoneright.com, kpft@politicsdoneright.com. But of course, we want to also hear from you. 713-526-5738, extension number 2, and you'll come on air right now. All phones are currently open. Is there something that is bothering you? Is there something that you want the rest of Houstonians, the rest of Texans, the rest of America to know? Give us a call, 713-526-5738. We are very courteous here. We are very respectful here. We don't fight. We love people, irrespective of their ideologies, at politicsdoneright.com. We make sure, because again, we are all going to be in this country together, this planet together. So why fight? Why not love? Why not love your fellow person irrespective? That's not what we push. Anyhow, before I get started again, I was watching Morning Joe while I'm setting all the things up here, and it's interesting because what has happened to Lindsey Graham, folks? What has happened to Lindsey Graham? Lindsey Graham, I wonder if Donald Trump has something on Lindsey Graham. There are some rumors about Lindsey. I won't put it on air because, again, I'm a responsible host. But there's some things about Lindsey Graham that one wonders now if Donald Trump is holding something over his head. He now claims that the judge, a very respectable judge, hates Donald Trump. And in saying this, that's a way of inciting Donald Trump's base to come out and say he's not going to get a fair trial because the judge that's going to be taking care of him hates him. And we also have all these people out there talking about cutting people's throats. We have Ron DeSantis says, as soon as I get elected president, he won't be president, but he thinks he is. As soon as I get elected president, I'm going to start the throat slashing. These guys are into a realm of assured destruction, hurt. Who can be the meanest person? Who can be the most violent person? And we know that they mean it. After all, there was a January 6th. Let me tell you, folks, those of you that are listening to me that are Republicans, even if you're MAGA, you don't have to go there. We are one country. Fight for, if you believe what you believe it. And try to get others to see it your way. And then, if they don't, you keep trying. That's what you do. This is a democracy. It is a true, or rather, it should be a true democracy. We're trying to live up to a true democracy. Jacoby G, good way to wake up this morning. Good news. Thank you, my brother. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, folks. Here we go. The title of the show I gave you already. So we're going to talk about El Señor Cuellar, okay? Entire House Democratic leadership backs anti-choice Cuellar in 2024 run. It's galling to see leadership muster behind Cuellar of all people at all times. And why do they say at all times? America has spoken. America, and even in red states, deep red states, when placed on the ballots, they say, we want women to have the right to control their own bodies. Punto y final. We want women to control their own bodies. Any man who gets into this debate trying to stop a woman from controlling her entire body, and I mean this dearly. Some may think it's hyperbole. They are fascists if they want to control that which they don't own. A woman's body is a woman's body is a woman's body. You don't have to like what she's doing with her body. You don't have to, if you don't like what she's doing with her body, look somewhere else. You have no choice in somebody else's body. If somebody attempted to tell you what you can do with your parts as a man, how many of you will stand up for that? How many of you have stood up for that? Right? Okay, anyway, with well over a year before the 2024 election, and as a pro-choice immigration rights attorney is reportedly weighing a primary run, all four of the top Democratic leaders in the U.S. House on Thursday announced their support for anti-abortion rights Representative Henry Cuellar in his re-election bid. I don't care if the Democratic leadership decided that they are going to support Henry Cuellar. It doesn't matter, sir, my brothers and my sisters. We will run a progressive. So if this lawyer runs, he'll have the support of progressives. If he doesn't run, there are progressives that will be ready to run, irrespective of what the establishment has to say. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Democratic Caucus Chairman Pete Aguilar, Minority Whip Representative Catherine Clark, and Assistant Democratic Representative Leader Clyburn, James Clyburn of South Carolina, all announced their endorsement of the right-wing Democrat who has represented the Texas district since 2005. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and former House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer also voiced their support for Cuellar, who in addition to being the only anti-abortion rights Democrat in the House, has an A rating from the National Rifle Association indicating his anti-gun control views. My brother, you have your right to your beliefs. You do have your right to your beliefs. You don't have your rights to fool your constituents or fool them into voting for someone they didn't realize they were voting for. So a call to action to all progressives. That district must change. That district must change. We cannot have a congressperson in any party who does not support a woman's right of her own body of her own body. Punto y final of her own body. 713-526-5738. 713-526-5738. Extension 2 to be on air right away. Women, I'd love to hear from my Texas women, from my United States women, from women across the world. Give me a call. Let me know your thoughts on having people elected who are willing to tell you you don't have any rights. I control your body. As a man, I can tell you what to do, but you can't tell me what to do with mine. Wondering why the influential top Democrats are focusing on Cuellar's district at this point? Advocate and political strategist Jen Bludstein called the leadership move galling, considering the ongoing Republican attacks on abortions across the country. If Cuellar's seen the light on women's freedom, he should say so, said Bludstein, loud enough for Texas women to hear. The Texas Tribune noted that Jessica Cisneros, who ran against him the last time, we were trying to get Jessica on an interview just before the election, but I think she was trying to keep a kind of a lower profile at that time. But anyway, Jessica Cisneros is staunchly pro-choice progressive who came within 300 votes of Cuellar in the 2022 House primary and also challenged him in 2020, has not ruled out another primary run next year. Jessica, run. Jessica, run. Please do. Last year's primary runoff between the two candidates came shortly after a draft opinion was leaked from the U.S. Supreme Court, indicating that the right-wing majority would soon overturn Roe v. Wade as it did in June 2022. Clyburn angered abortion rights advocates by stumping for Cuellar 2 days after the leak, telling reporters that as a big tent party, Democrats should welcome the congressman despite his views running counter to party's agenda. He denounced progressive objections to the Democrat support for Cuellar as sophomoric. Let's see this. Let's put that into some context here. All right. Representative Clyburn, James Clyburn, a black man, is telling women that, hey, we are a big tent party. If there are some people in our tent who want to take the rights of women away, it is okay. Let's go ahead and give Brother James Clyburn a question. If a KKK person decided to run in the Democratic Party, are you going to go out there and say, it's a big tent party, we are going to support him because we include everybody? I doubt it. I doubt it. So why? Women make up a larger percentage of our population, more than 50% to be exact, than black folk. And just like I am sure Brother Claiborne would not support having a KKK person run in the Democratic Party, they can't stop him from running, but they sure can say, we are not giving you support. They sure can say, we're not going to endorse you. But to say we're a big tent party and we are going to let you in, that is what's sophomoric. When Clyburn called progressives who are counter Cuellar sophomoric, it is his line of thinking that is sophomoric. It is his line of thinking that denies critical thinking. It is his line of thinking that is completely and entirely unjustified and wrong. On Thursday, writer and Ventura County, California political candidate Heather Christina Smith tweeted that the Democrats' endorsement of Cuellar runs counter to the party's claim that it will fight for reproductive rights. You cannot support Cuellar having the leadership of the Democratic Party. You cannot have the leadership of the Democratic Party support Cuellar and look into a woman's eyes and say, I am here to support your rights to your own body. They are mutually exclusive. There are things that are not mutually exclusive. But this particular thing, in every context, is mutually exclusive. 713-526-5738. Please give me a call. I am ready to play another video, not another subject, but I would love to hear your opinions. Ladies, women, I would love you to call and tell me your thoughts. Did I get it right? Do you think I got it wrong? I'd love to hear what you think about what I'm saying. Because I tell you what, unless proven otherwise, I think it's a huge mistake that the leadership of the Democratic Party, at best, they should have just kept their mouth shut. At best, they should have kept their mouth shut. But to come out and actively have the entire top leadership of the Democratic Party come out in support of Cuellar, it's completely and entirely insane. So folks, 713, the next video that I'm showing is about 8 minutes or so. So before I do that, I want to make sure that if somebody wants to call in and make a comment on this particular subject, 713-526-5738. I'll hold on for about 45 seconds to wait for any calls. 713-526-5738. I want to hear from guys too, but I especially would love to hear, I'm a guy, so I would like to hear a woman validate what I'm saying, or maybe invalidate what I'm saying. 713-526-5738. Give us a call. One more time, 713-526-5738. Hit extension 2, and you will be placed on air immediately, as all phones are available right this minute. Okay, I'll play the 8-minute video, and maybe calls will come in then. This is what a true progressive sounds like. I interviewed this guy. He's running for the district that includes Sacramento, California. I think you're going to like this guy. I think you're going to like what he has to say. Let's check it out, and then we'll take it on the other side. Welcome to Politics Done Right. Today I'm honored to speak to Sean Frame. Sean, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
I heard you were a special progressive out of California, and you are running for
California State Assembly, District 6, which is right in the capital. The capital of California is actually in my district.
Sacramento is in your district.
Sacramento, yep.
All right. Well, anyway, what are you going to bring to? First of all, what are your beliefs? Why do you think you'll make a good? What do you call them? A state rep? Do you call them state reps?
Yeah, we call it a member of the assembly, member of the state legislature.
Right.
So assembly person.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because some states call them different names, etc., even though they're the same purpose.
Right.
What exactly do you intend to bring to them?
Well, I mean, for me, look, the capital is in my district.
Right.
And what I've noticed living there is that it feels for most people like the capital is a million miles away.
Right.
The people live there. They can see the capital.
Right.
It's 10 minutes from their front door, maybe.
Right.
But yet their voice is not being heard in the Capitol.
Right.
So to me, the real impetus for me wanting to run is, look, I'm a union worker.
I love that.
Education worker. A lot of my coworkers are not even being paid a living wage. In the 4th largest economy on earth in the history of humanity. Is that okay?
No, it's not okay.
Not okay, right? So I really come at it from that point of view, that the regular working folks need representation in our capital. They need to be heard. We have a Democratic supermajority in California.
Let me stop you right there, because you have a Democratic supermajority, and interestingly, what happens is we almost had Medicare for all, healthcare for all in your state.
That's correct.
Supermajority. Democrats always complain about the Republicans are holding us back. What the hell happened?
So that's an interesting question. That there were 20 co-sponsors on the single payer bill, healthcare. And when it got to literally the 11th hour, the bill was pulled by the author, Ash Kalra.
Yes.
The bill was pulled.
Now, he got a lot of flack, but supposedly he was covering for a lot of folks who had other things that they didn't want the bill pulled.
Yeah, I feel for him, because I know he wanted to bring it, and I know he was serious. I think it was a real, there was a real intention on his part to bring CalCare and have it passed. Right. So I know it must have been a very difficult situation. And look, let's be honest, not every Democrat supports single payer. We know that.
It's because of Democrats that we don't have single payer. If we got all Democrats on board, we wouldn't have a problem. So look, you are going to the legislature. You want to go to the legislature. Tell me what you're going to bring to California, and with that reflected over to all of us.
Well, let me give you an example. So I'm a union education worker, and I make a reasonably good living. Not a fantastic living, right? I'm not driving a Porsche. I get by. Right. Right now, I pay about 30% of my income, including my employer's contribution, goes to my health care.
30%.
30%. So just as an example, that's a working class perspective.
Right.
People say, oh, unions, they provide health care and you've got that. That's true.
Yeah.
But what I would rather, I'm a union negotiator.
Right.
I would rather be negotiating money, not money for insurance companies.
Healthcare does not belong with the employer.
It does not.
Right.
It absolutely does not.
Right.
And I don't want to be negotiating that at the table.
Absolutely not.
It's just a diminishment of what's the value that's possible for us as employees.
Right.
It takes away. Every year the healthcare goes up. This year, CalPERS, which provides our healthcare, went up 11%.
And inflation is under 11%, but somehow healthcare can be, or we have not yet addressed the fraud in healthcare, and the only way to solve that is to have a single payer system that is that isn't for profit. And what's amazing, my friend, is that it's hard for people. If I were to ask you, right, if I said, hey, Sean, please pay this bill for me, and I'll charge you 30 cents to pay your dollar bill. So I'll pay, you want me to pay your dollar bill? Give me $1.30 and I'll pay it for you. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense. You're exactly right. So all the issues I look at, I look through that lens, right? Like we have so many, like for example, education. 40% of the California state budget is supposed to be used on education.
Right.
And that was supposed to be the floor, the minimum funding level.
Right.
Well, what do we get every year? 40%. Not 40.1%?
40%.
40%.
Yeah.
How can an education system be maintained with that as your funding basis? And the thought process in the legislature is when they're making out the budget every year, okay, 40%, 40%, 40%. Doesn't matter if there's greater need. It doesn't matter if there are people falling behind. It doesn't matter if California is now in the lowest quartile in the United States on per pupil spending, which we are. That's 40% is just locked in.
Shame.
That's shameful.
Shameful.
So this, and look, wages. Sacramento is a company town.
Right.
Sacramento is mostly public employees.
Right.
Between the legislature that's there, you got the governor, you got all of the infrastructure of our state is all based in Sacramento. And then education workers like myself. It's a huge number of public employees.
Right.
Why on earth are there so many people who are housing insecure in a place that it is the center of power for the fourth largest economy on earth?
So then we're looking at Californians now. Tell Californians what is your platform, and in telling Californians what's your platform, make it afterwards why it should be a national platform.
Okay. And should I look into you want me to look right at the?
You look right at that
one right there? Okay.
Yeah.
So my platform is really a working class platform. It's called For Us, All of Us. And so the things we were just talking about, it's fully funding education and making sure that education in California is among the best in the country and leading the way and showing the rest of America what can be done. It's real action on the climate crisis, which should also be part of what we're doing in the United States of America. California, with 1 in 10 Americans living in California, should be the state leading the way on just about everything we do. It is single-payer healthcare, absolutely single-payer healthcare, and that should be what we have in the United States of America. And it's a living wage for people that automatically adjusts up. So setting a wage floor that leaves people housing secure. Because when we talk about people being unhoused, what leads to people being unhoused? Well, half of it is that they aren't earning enough money. If you're not earning enough money, you're automatically housing insecure, one incident away. We have to stop having people earn such a low wage that they can't actually make a living, and that when one bad thing happens, they fall out of their house and they fall out of the system, and are so. Then what do you have to do? You have to find people and pull them back up, and you have to keep people from going there.
Right.
I honestly, these are the issues that I want to lead on, and if we lead on them in California, we can make it happen in the United States of America, because we have 1 in 10 citizens, and we have such an enormous part of the American economy.
And you are the 4th largest economy
on
in
earth.
the world.
On earth.
Sean Frame, it's been my pleasure to speak to you, and good luck, because
Thank you.
Tell you what we need, full-throated progressives out there making a difference.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
All right, folks, that was El Señor Frame, Sean Frame. Anyhow, 713-526-5738 is the number. John is here with us. John, come on in, my friend. John, you're on.
So free healthcare supports abortion?
There's no free health care anywhere that I know, sir, and there will never be free health care.
free healthcare for abortion. So basically, if someone find a baby in a toilet somewhere, is that okay? I saw that on the news the other day.
I mean, let me tell you something, Brother John. There's a lot of stuff out there intent on scaring you. There's a whole lot of stuff. No, but first of all, let me tell you something, all right? Go.
Having a child in a toilet and abandoning it and leaving it for dead, is that okay?
I repeat, I am not going to allow anyone, John, not even you, my dear caller, who I'm thankful that you called, to try to dramatize, to change, to in such a manner to put a woman in a position where I control her body, where you control her body. Those are the fascist tactics. So I am not going to look. I'm not going to answer that question. You see, I'm not going to play that game with anybody because, again, I am never. I repeat. A woman has a right to her body. You can put all the pictures you want on the planet. I could actually go ahead and bring pictures about what's happening in the ghettos, the barrios, and Appalachia, where the people who claim to support life allow kids to starve to death, to be emaciated, to be gunned down. I mean, you can look. The destruction of the human body in many other forms are much tolerated by many of the people who come out that claiming they want to protect that fetus. They want to protect that. I will not. I repeat, my dear John, I respect you, but I will not allow you to change what the subject really is. Period. The subject is as follows. The subject is as follows. I will not control a woman's body. Period. You can put whatever you want to as we should think about the woman baby in the toilet. You can make all these scenarios. I will say, let's think about the kid that the cops gunned down. Were you that concerned about that?
No, that's a totally different subject. I was just comparing the difference between normally a normal human being would be disgusted and sad by finding a child.
It is none of your look, sir. Everybody should be disgusted and sad when something happens to somebody who is harmed. Everybody should be disgusted. I wonder why you, my dear brother, are not disgusted for all the people that have already been born, whose people with the same policies that you seem to support do nothing about. While you create this big scenario for things that rarely happens, right? I mean, rarely happens.
Women have responsibility and not have the point of procreation, the point of sex is procreation.
Are you a woman? Can you have a baby? Can you have a baby?
All the time and then flush their babies down a damn toilet. I find that sickening. And then
sir, that is sickening. But it's no less sickening than what we do to born bodies right now, right?
Well, if I'm alive and I'm an adult, I have a choice to do whatever I want to my own body.
Oh, thank you. You hear what you just said? You heard what you just said? You have a choice.
A child in the womb is not the woman's body. That's all.
But again, we decide, sir. Sir.
And also one other thing, if y'all are anti-capitalist, what does that make y'all?
I missed that. I'm sorry. I missed that. Say that again.
If people on the show are anti-capitalist, meaning people have a choice to open their own business and free market, what does that make y'all? What do y'all support?
Now you change the subject, and let me just tell you that I am pro free enterprise. Now here's the thing, and this is why I hope you listen to my show, John. Because being anti-capitalist,
anti-capitalist, like
John,
anti-capitalist, capitalist. What does that make y'all though?
John, do you want an answer, or do you want to keep talking?
It should be a short answer.
No, it's not. You see, you want to put a label onto something because you want to fit into the policy that the right-wing machine that controls your mind will put you in. Let me tell you what we support. When I say we, I'm talking about me. I don't know what else any other host at KPFT does, but let me tell you what I support. I am anti-capitalist, absolutely. Capitalist is an evil system. I am pro-free enterprise. They're not the same thing. Pro-free enterprise mean everybody can go open up their own business. They can do whatever they want. They can exchange in the marketplace, etc. Capitalism is a form of slavery. And if you don't, and you know what, what Stockholm syndrome is. When you're it also promotes when you're a slave or being abused, and you don't really see it because they've really turned it very well. Let me tell you what this does for you. Capitalism says, of all your labor, of all that you do, I am going to make the profits off of it, and I'll give you a contract for some little amount, and all the wealth goes to the few. And if you doubt it, it is what we're living through today. It behooves me that so many people who are so harmed by an economic system, who are so worked by an economic system, who cannot survive because of an economic system, are the greatest supporters of an economic system. If that isn't Stockholm syndrome, I don't know what is. Go ahead, sir. You're on, sir.
Enterprise. Is free enterprise basically free market?
Yes, capitalism isn't free market. They lie about that to you, but you want us to enumerate why it's not free market? Would you like us to do that? Because
But why?
again, you can come, wait, John, brother John.
Why should I make more money than the person that I work for when they had the risk of opening a business, and they took that risk. Like, I open up a restaurant. I put all my life and all my money in a restaurant. Now the janitor or the cook says, well, I cook all the food. I have to be making as much as you. I mean, I don't know. The people that...
You missed the point altogether. You missed the point altogether. If you open a restaurant, you take the risk. You employ somebody, that person you employed should have a living wage, because you could not keep that restaurant open without the person who is working for you. When you take your risk to open that restaurant, that employee who works for you also takes risks. You see, that is what the capitalist mentality is. The following: I take risks with my capital, with my income. The employees take risks as well, but we don't care about the employees' risks. We only care about the person who has capital, their risks. Well, let me tell you, the company who build dams, okay, they employ a lot of people. A lot of people die as these dams are built. A lot of people get calcium lungs as they build these bridges. They are also taking risks, not just the person with capital. It's a stake. They are all stakeholders, but capitalism doesn't look at anybody else other than the owners of capital as the stakeholders. That's all I'm trying to say. I believe you, brother, if you want to have your own, I'm not done, sir. Please, I made you speak. As you create your restaurant, you have the right to do so. You have the right to employees. But remember, the employee that you employ also is taking a risk as they work for you. Continue, sir. You may continue, sir.
All right. I want to look into free enterprise. It sounds very vague, though. It's like, doesn't really sound like a structured system. It just sounds like free enterprise.
Yeah. Let me tell you, brother. Let me tell you this, okay? This is important. Because when I talk about us as a country having Stockholm syndrome, I'm really serious about that. We are always there protecting rich people. We don't have a pot to do you know what in. And we're there protecting rich people who are working on our backs. I believe in free enterprise. And free enterprise is something that I can guarantee if I have a cup of coffee with you for 15 minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
We talk some other time. Thank you, sir. All right, let's go to Johnny.
This gets really old after a while. Every time someone who wants to be contentious, not debate, have an honest, earnest debate with you, they switch the argument. When they lose the argument, then they go, yes, but what about this? And then you start addressing that, and then they switch again. Yes, but what about that? That's not what I call an honest discussion.
But Johnny, let me stop you. Johnny, I need to stop you. John was actually good at the end. Come on. John says, I need to... Listen, what I always say is, as long as people... Look, when you are trained in a certain way, right, Johnny? eventually it's hard to get something that people are telling you. It is hard to break. Okay, I hope it's okay now. It's hard to get people. Oh, my signal is some. Okay, there we go. It's hard sometimes for people to change their views, right? John at the end asked the question, I need to look into free enterprise. I take that as John John Mind's opening. So I at the end I think it started out as a sort of a what about this, what about that, and I think we handle his what about this, what about that just fine. Come on in, Johnny.
Let me ask you, is he the same individual who identified himself the other day as a MAGA guy from Kingwood? Is that the same person?
No, that wasn't the same person. That person's name was Joe.
Okay, Joe. Okay, good. So I have
Yeah.
one less migraine coming my way.
Oh, I am surprised I remembered. Okay, it said, I don't know why. It shouldn't be. I'm looking at my signaling, and the signaling look tops. So I'm not sure what's going on right now. Anyway, go ahead, Johnny. Continue.
I can hear you, but your signal was jumping up and down a little bit, but I can understand what you're saying. So
What I don't understand is I'm looking at the signal that's being transmitted, and the signal that being transmitted is solid. But anyway, our genius in the control room can take care of that.
Well, I can hear you. I just can't hear the other people talking to you. That needs
Okay.
to be solved. Anyway,
Great. All right, talk to me, Johnny.
to address Joe's concern from the other day, I would remind him and these other callers who think like he does, because they've been grossly misinformed on purpose, is that when we criticize capitalism, what we're saying is our version of capitalism. That is to say, unfettered, underregulated mercenary-style capitalism. That needs to change. I'm pragmatic. I don't think that anytime soon we're going to evolve towards a hybrid economy. In other words, 60% capitalistic businesses that are well regulated and maybe 40% horizontally based businesses. But in the meantime, at the very least, we should be making clear to people who have been grossly misinformed that the capitalistic system needs to be changed drastically with an eye towards dissolving it at some point a generation or two away. But we're far away from that. So they're so scared of change. Yeah, change that involves their change, not for people that work every day. So quit focusing on babies and toilets, because that's the fabrication. That's not to say that doesn't ever happen. Some women, they're having a bowel movement that they don't realize that they've just extracted a fetus into the toilet. That's tiny. That doesn't even resemble a human being. But that's rare. That's rare. And
That's why, Johnny, that is why when he brought that up, I said I wasn't going to answer that question, because that's what they do. When I say they, I don't mean him. I mean the people that are controlling his mind. That's what they do. They go ahead and they tell him that, let's see. Okay, I'm not sure what's happening there exactly, but I'll check that out in a little bit. So it turns out that can you hear me very well, Johnny?
Yes, I hear you fine. No
Great.
interruption at all.
Okay, great. Excellent. Excellent. So as it turns out, remember, and the reason I make sure to be kind, sometimes I get excited but not unkind to folks, is that when you are used to hearing that thing, it's easy for John, who called earlier, to look at baby killer and all that kind of stuff. And my thing then is to immediately give context. If you care about that one, an exception baby that's born like that and left in the toilet, a bad thing, but you can't penalize women for the same thing. Men that do certain things, you don't penalize all men for something that gets done. You can't do that. And and again, it's the tested psychological war that the right use on its people that we have to break. And I think if you listen to John earlier before you, John was, when he wanted to attack on capitalism, and when he understood how capitalism is extractive and also free enterprise is the true market, he was willing to back up a bit. That's all we want. Continue, Johnny, before I go to tag.
I've got a what about for our friend. What about, since he's so concerned about these fictitious narratives put out by mainstream and corporate and right-wing media about babies and toilets, how about the fact that we have babies and young children who go hungry to school every day?
That is true.
What about capitalism treats their parents in the marketplace of work?
Yes.
They don't
Yes.
get representation. They don't get paid well. They're not taught how to negotiate. What about all those things? What about?
Johnny, you nailed it. Johnny, you nailed it. I need to go to the other caller, but Johnny, you nailed it as usual, brother. Thank you so kindly, as usual, for being the voice of the progressive. You take care, my brother. Let's go to Tag. Come on in, Tag.
Hey, Egberto, how are you?
I'm fine. Talk to me, my brother.
Well, I wasn't going to call, but when I heard John, I just had to call and say, they take the furthest, most extreme case scenarios and try to get these people jacked up, but these people never consider the flip side of the coin, which is when you want to talk about us being anti-capitalist. We tend to be against somebody who buys a profitable American business, closes it down, ships the work overseas, and then it takes the pension funds, and you lose your pension at the same time. That's the type of anti-capitalist we are. We want the jobs to be kept in America. We want our pensions to stay secure, and we don't want these capitalists, venture capitalists, or vulture capitalists to be closing our businesses down and taking our pensions. That's the type of it's a problem. And it's the same thing with this women's health issue. John probably wouldn't have wanted to talk about a woman sitting in a hospital parking lot dying of sepsis because she couldn't get her health care that she needed to save her life. And so I don't think that these people really look at the other side of the coin. They don't ever look at it.
But Tag, I want to interrupt you for a reason. All right, because it's not like these people that are pushing the anti-abortion mantra and all of that are good people. I'm not talking about John. John is a good person. The guy who called here was a good person. But the people who are putting that into the narrative, those are evil people. They are putting it into a narrative for a reason. They know that they control an evangelical base, and if they can give an evangelical base something to run with, then they can keep the eyes off. When I talk about this Stockholm syndrome kind of a thing, right? When I talk about that, I am serious, very serious, because if they have you concerned about abortion and all these kinds of things, you're then not concerned about that which really ails you, which is an economic system that screws you. But the Tag, I got to go to Donald. Thank you so kindly for calling in, my brother. Let's get to Donald.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too, sir. Donald, come on in. Okay, Donald is going to be on in a minute. There you go. Donald, come on in.
Morning. How's it going?
It's going fine, my brother. Talk to me.
Okay, you're doing good. The thing is, country songs. They have all the things. I want to see you teach an old dog new tricks, and then I don't care what you do behind closed doors. These people get all worked up over whatever it is, and it's back to the Wizard of Oz and pull the curtain back. The thing is, I wanted to mention something that last week you talked about China.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you're going to take over the world, would you not build an infrastructure?
Yeah.
Roads will be runways.
Yes.
The other thing is we're restricted to the Dodd-Frank Act, I believe, where our natural resources are monitored, where we can buy. And you're a mechanical engineer. You know this. With China controlling the cobalt and, Conga and the Congolese people, or however you want to pronounce it, they don't care about those people. They care about China, but they're going to control a natural resource, and that is where the power is. Because we don't go on the gold standard anymore. That the Wizard of Oz, you know how that went: gold, silver, and then we went to oil as the basis of dollars. The new is going to be cobalt, and whoever controls it for the rechargeable batteries and everything is going to have the power. So let's start focusing on that. Quit worried about all the other garbage that get these people worked up, and let's figure out how we're going to make the world a better place, one, and how we're going to maintain being at the top.
You're a smart man. Listen to me, Donald. You're a smart man, and let me just say something real quickly. You're correct that China doesn't care about the places that it's going into, but you know who else don't care about the places we go into? America. Imperialist countries, and I'm not saying that as a derogatory term. I'm just saying the way things are. We go into places because it is of interest to us, right? And right now, China is playing a smarter game in the way they're getting goodwill around the world. It is something that we should practice ourselves. But look, thank you, Donald, for calling with your smart comment. I need to go to Josie. Come on in, Josie. Josie, you're on. Para ver. Josie, come on.
Stand by.
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting there. Go ahead and send Josie through.
All right, Josie, you're on.
Okay, so I wanted to make a comment about the women's bodies.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm 71. I'm 71 years old, and my first thoughts were, here we go again. And I wonder where we went wrong and what happened to all the work that had been done in regards to just women's rights and rights in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the gentleman earlier was talking about the toilet, baby being born in the toilet situation.
Right.
And I wonder again, like, why aren't we thinking about services for that person, to reach that person, so that person doesn't get to that point? For opening minds about, you know, women who are struggling because they're pregnant and they can't afford to be pregnant. They can't afford to feed that child. We always go, you know, way out in space into the most ridiculous scenarios instead of thinking practically, like, what can we do to help?
You nailed it. You nailed it. And let me tell you, Josie, what, in my opinion, you said, where did we go wrong? Where did we fail? I'll tell you, we allowed an infrastructure to be built on. First of all, they're not doing this because they love children or love women. They're doing this to take your eyes off of the ball. They don't want you thinking about real economic issues, so they give you some sort of a social issue on which to fight about. That's the reason they're doing this, because it works. But what did we do wrong? Those of us that are progressives that really want know that a woman has a right to her body. Period. That is intrinsic. Yeah. She has a right to her body.
Yes, it's just a right that any person has.
Right.
It has. It's like you said, the focus is always put on something like that.
Right.
And the real focus that we should be on is taken off.
Right.
The real problem.
Right.
And we continue to do that. And I wonder where did we go to sleep? What was why weren't we watching what was going on? I just don't understand.
I'm going to give you a big picture answer. Oh, I'm sorry. I got a little bit late.
I've got a daughter. I've got a granddaughter. I've got a great-granddaughter. I'm very, very concerned about what's going to happen in this world for them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm angry. I'm very, very angry.
Now, Josie, we need to channel that anger, as I see it, into narratives and into action, into engagement, right? You asked did we go wrong? We stopped engaging. The battle was thought to be won, and we allowed the cancer to grow in rural areas, the cancer to grow in churches, the cancer to grow in all these places. The Powell Memo explains how all of this stuff was achieved. And we have to go back and we have to engage in all these other areas and point these things out. And that's why I do what I do here. And your call in also plays a big part in changing people's minds. So thank you, Josie, for giving us a call. And we're going to jump to Brian next.
I enjoy your program. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so kindly, Josie. Let's go to Brian. Come on in, Brian. Thank you. Brian, you're on. Yes, sir.
You continually say they. Who are they? They, the billionaires. They, the people that want to take the abortion rights away. Do you know how the government works?
Of course.
They listen to the people. They listen to the people. It's what the people want. It's the majority calling their congressman and say, hey, I want the abortion law stopped. Who are they? When you talk about billionaires working, the working class, working off the backs of billionaires. How many billionaires are in the world? How many billionaires in the United States? Here's an answer. 700 billionaires in the United States. Stop buying their product and they won't be a billionaire. It's just that simple.
I love that you said that. And I notice I made you go ahead and bring the narrative. Let me tell you what the narrative is if you control the oil supply, something that everybody needs, it's not as simple as said, don't buy it. If you control the farms in mega farms and the price of wheat, you can't say don't buy wheat. And what I'm telling you, Brian, and you, as usual, we are at the end of the show. I wrote a book called As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. Why did I do that? I explain in detail why it is that I talk about they. Because the truth of the matter is, if you really understand how government works, if you really understand Citizen United, if you really understand McCutcheon, if you really understand all these issues, it would be immediately evident why we speak about the puppeteers being they. But I got to go, Brian, because we're done with the show. Call back on Monday and we'll continue this discussion. Thank you so kindly, my brother Brian. Anyway, folks, let me throw it real quickly to the studio.
Oh, another very interesting show, and I think that Josie nailed it there. They give us all these emotional things to concentrate on while we're not seeing the real picture.
Amen.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain is what it's all about. Now,
Yes.
Jack?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, you know, many times a pregnancy is a life or death issue. I mean, it's just something, if you're poor, it's struggling. And the other thing is it's vampire capitalists. We wouldn't want to hurt no vultures.
That was your claim, and I love that. Anyway, folks, my name is Egberto Willis. I want to thank Howard and Jack for the great work in the studio. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics and Right, and you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!